Today, we're going to talk about mental beliefs and attitudes. And we touched on this really in one of the first lessons, but today we're going to talk about how you can upgrade to an unstoppable mindset. And I want to say one of the ways that you can do this is the use of heroes or the super successful. We're socially hardwired to what I call like hero worship. I mean, when I was a little kid, there was certain people. I mean, I remember it starting out with my dad, and then school teachers, and then I saw older athletes, and then eventually it developed into people that I wanted to become or be more like. It was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then Tony Robbins, and then that moved into some of the medical doctors that I trained under. And always there was a hero or a mindset or someone whose mindset I wanted to incorporate. And recognize this, that your mindset is such a powerful influencer into your physiology. In fact, if you look here on the pyramid, we've got, of course, to review, we've got air, water, exercise, sunlight, optimizers, and then mental beliefs and attitudes. But this here, M, could probably be at the start. And I want to congratulate you. The fact that you're even here and that you're already at a lesson 11 tells me that you've got the mindset that you want to do that. And I really honor that. And that's why we're going to put everything that we've got into this to help you develop that mindset. So I want you to go back and think about a time where you had something that was really challenging in your life and that you saw someone else do. And that moment kind of inspired you. It's kind of the reason why we watch high-level athletics like the Olympics or sports heroes, is we see them do things and we go, wow, we kind of are uplifted by, the commonality of mankind. And I think one of the great ways that we learn is through modeling. So as little children, we learn to model the habits and beliefs of our parents. As we get older, we start to model the beliefs and attitudes of maybe our peer group, and then moving on into our, social worlds, our spiritual organizations, or inside our work organizations determines oftentimes our mindset. And one of the things that I've noticed, I've made a great study of my life of people who have, lived at the highest level, was that their mindset. And I can tell you this, one of the things that the super successful people have that I've noticed is their ability to overcome social programming. Remember that when you're going for your goals, you're going against, here's the social group. This is the people you hang out with, or that are in your social economic status, or are in your state or province or country. The beliefs that you have. Most of the beliefs that you have, that you think, or that you think how the world is, or how I think the world is largely part by the people I've hung around with or spent time with. Now, there's an upside and a downside of that, because today, thanks to the internet, you're able to kind of go into the mindset and belief systems of the most powerful people on the planet, the people that have achieved the most efficiently. The downside is you can also plug into what I call the negative social. And this here is a real challenge. It's very easy to get caught up in frivolous activity. The fact that people can turn on the TV and kind of watch mindless programs that don't lead them to health, that are filled with commercials promoting products that everybody knows that isn't good for you, or producing or promoting activities that aren't supportive to what I call the inner game of health and happiness. Chasing money and cars and frivolous activities or status and fame is one thing, but actually going inside and getting involved in people who have kind of earned the right through their contribution to humanity makes a big difference in who you're following. So what I've noticed when I'm following the most successful people is they tend to pick social groups that support. There I go with my horrible writing again, but that support their goals. And what they do is they get what I call a whatever it takes attitude. In other words, they go, okay, I want to achieve this. I want to achieve this goal. So how do I go about doing that? Well, they find a model and they start following those models and they stick to it no matter what. But what's going to happen, and you're going to experience this, is you're going to experience a certain amount of what I call social or negative social feedback. These are the people that want to keep you where you are. Sometimes those people are just completely in our heads. They're limiting beliefs, which we talked about earlier. But what you got to understand is when you're making a break for a new health regime to get fitter, to start taking some of the products we recommend, or making shakes in the morning, or eating salads or whatever, if that's not common to your social group, you're going to get negative feedback from here. And then likewise, when you're working on this side, let's say you're working on the negative group, they're going to reinforce behaviors that are going to hold you back. They're going to enforce, say, you know what, don't need that food, just have that pizza this time. You know what, you don't need to go to the gym this time, take the time off. You know what, sleep in, don't get up early. Those type of things. Be very, very careful about how these can impact you and your mental beliefs and attitudes. So getting a mindset, we talked about it first, you got to be focused. What I think is this. From the hundreds of high performers that I've met, I don't think that they're smarter than the average person. I don't think they have more skills than the average person. I don't believe in the natural talent that people talk about. Sure, there's people that have attitudes, but if you look, what it comes down to is they develop an attitude of whatever it takes, WIT, and I would say that without hurting any other sentient beings, okay, or damaging to themselves, whatever it takes. And the other side of that is they get coaching, which we'll talk about on the next level, but to get coaching and influence from a social group of success. One of the things, if you look at high performance athletics, is they always tend to come out of these little hotbeds of groups in some little place where they're all training together. In the 70s, it was Gold's Gym in Venice, and they were all the bodybuilders in the world were training there. And then you learn about the Kenyans and their dominance of athletics and how they all became runners, and that country focuses on running. And one time there was strength athletes from Bulgaria. They were winning all the championships. And these social groups reinforce high levels to help support the belief for optimization. And that's what we're doing here. We're here to support you in optimizing your mental state along with your physiology, because as you plug into these videos, as you go through this course, as you pop these back in, whenever you feel a low moment, plug back into the social group, go to our website, connect with other people, read through the things that count. When I started out in my journey, I had this dream of going to the Mr. Universe. I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger and I wanted to go there. But at the time, I was 15 years old. It was 50 miles away from the nearest gym, and I had literally no neighbors from 5 miles to my nearest neighbor. And I realized that if I wanted to get to the Mr. Universe, I had to reverse engineer things. And I had to take focus. And the beauty of it was this. By being in that isolated environment for those first few years, I got laser focused. And I'm going to encourage you to get laser focused over these 84 steps, over these 84 lessons. A minimum is to do one lesson a day and to integrate one habit per week. So, for example, we've got 12 main habits that are going to be incorporated week to week on this thing, and we're going to enforce these. So the first one was deep breathing. The second one is trying to get to drinking a gallon of water a day, or at least 4 liters a day, so drinking that water. That's week number 2. So these habits, reinforced by your social group with focus, allows you to get to the highest levels. And the biggest obstacle that you're going to experience is distractions from negative social influence. So what I would like you to do over the next week is just write down your day. Just journal your day and look at the things that let you go to your goal and the things that took you away from. Were you spending time with people that were supporting your goal for super health? Or were they taking away? Were they over here or were they over here? Put people into these groups, okay? figure out which one that you want to be. Are they a distractor or are they a focuser? And by just doing that, what I'm not saying, I'm not telling you to stop hanging around with all those people. What I do say is start hanging around more people that support your goals. You can still see your friends or family a little bit, but it just becomes a little bit less and less until you get enough momentum that you don't get drugged down by these negative experience or negative social conditions. So mindset is focused. You know, going back to my own story, starting that whole journey, it took me 16 years to get to the Mr. Universe. But you know what? I just stuck with it. And even though I didn't have the ability, I didn't have the right genetics, I didn't have the coaching early on, I didn't know anything, eventually by just doing piece by piece by piece, I finally got to realize my dream. And I know this. I've seen this over and over and over. And basically, we've eliminated the distractions and things that are take you off the sidetrack. So let's get focused. Let's turn on that mindset. Write down what you think is the most important goal in your life, and then write down what you think is the distractions that are holding you back and work on eliminating. And we'll see you on the next lesson.